Hey mathematicians, this is Mrs. Shopper coming with a review of slope using the slope formula y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by the quantity x sub 2 minus x sub 1. We're going to talk about parallel and perpendicular lines, and we're also going to talk about how to find the missing variable. So just a little bit of a review today. So the slope of the line is right here is their formula. M is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Slope can also be found by doing rise over run. I think we're beyond that. I think we really need to make sure that we're doing, using the slope formula. The different types of slopes, as a quick reminder: positive, negative, zero, and undefined, making sure you remember each of those. Okay. Write down what you need to, and then move forward. All right, so how do you find the slope of the line containing these points? As a review, I like to label x sub 1, y sub 1, and x sub 2, y sub 2. It helps me keep things organized so I don't make mistakes, or I make fewer mistakes. As you saw in the last video, I make mistakes. And so y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So watch your negatives here, kiddos. Negative 9 minus 2 over negative 5 minus 3, which is negative 11 over negative 8. We'd like to see you keep it in fraction form and simplify. So 11/8. There you go, 11/8. And that's how you find the slope. So I would like to see your work, your process as you go through. You don't have to write the formula every time. I do want to see what you're plugging in, though. It is important for me to see that. All right, parallel and perpendicular lines. Reminder from last year. We're going to be using this a fair amount this year, so it's good to bring it back and think about it. Slopes of parallel lines have the same slope. Okay? So the slopes of parallel lines are the exact same slope. The slopes of perpendicular lines, they call it where their product of their slopes is -1. What it really is that they are opposite and reciprocal. Excuse me. Opposite and reciprocal. All right. And so keeping this in mind, it's pulling it back from last year. Parallel has the exact same, and perpendicular lines have opposite and reciprocal. So we want to determine what type of lines these are. So we want to know if FG and HJ. So the slope of FG is going to be x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. So -1 minus -3, -2 minus 1. So 2 over -3. That's my slope of FG. My slope of HI. So again, I label x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. Is going to be 3 minus 0 over 6 minus 5, which is 3 over 1. So this has a slope of -2/3. If I did everything correctly, slope of 3 over 1. So they're going to be neither. They are not the same. They are not opposite reciprocal. So therefore, their slopes are neither. Okay. All right, so this is something we're going to pull back from last year. It's using the slope formula. Only the difference is, 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. We're telling you what the slope is. So when I write out my slope formula, m is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So I'm pulling back that slope formula. I'm going to fill in what I know. 2 is m. y sub 2 is 9, y sub 1 is 5, x sub 2 is 4, and I don't know what x is. Okay, I have an equation here now that has only one variable, which means I can solve it. A couple different ways to solve it. I like to use cross products. So where I take the products of the diagonals and then solve from there. So I would be saying that 2 times 4 minus x is equal to 1 times 9 minus 5. And I solve my equation that way. So 8 minus 2x is 9 minus 5. Subtract 8 from both sides. So negative 2x. 9 minus 5 is 4. Minus 8 is negative 4. So x equals 2. Okay, so I'm using that slope formula, but what I'm really trying to do, here, I'll go here so you can watch. What I'm really trying to do then is find for the missing variable. And once I set up my equation, I can do it however I want from there. I like cross products, so, okay, so bringing that algebra in to help us work through the slope problems. One last one here that we want to look at, and then that's it for today, is error analysis. I want you to pause the video and answer this question and then come back and we'll discuss it. Okay, so pause the video, please. No, really, pause it. Did you pause it? You sure? Okay. All right, let's come back and let's see if either one of them are correct. Sometimes when I do an error analysis, I actually need to solve the problem first to see where the mistake would be. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take 5 minus 2, so x sub 2 and y sub 2. And you might be asking, well, why are you doing it that way, shopper? Well, because I noticed that in both cases they put the 5 first, and that was y sub 2. So that's why I did it that way. So 5 minus 2 over 3 minus negative 2. And so 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 minus negative 2 is 5. So it looks like Terrell's got it right. What I see with Hales is that he actually switched these two numbers around. It should be 3 minus negative 2, and he did negative 2 minus 3. So it's really important to make sure that you assign x of the first, y of the first, x of the second, y of the second, just like that. Okay? All right, that's it for slope today. Enjoy your practice, your review, whatever you want to call it. And until next time, have fun.